Hello and welcome to this introduction video. My name is Jerker and I'm working on this game project called DAW, or Dynamic Air War, which is just a working title. It's a project inspired by some of the flight sim games of the 90s, such as those from Digital Image Design or Novalogic, where I think especially the former ones did hit a really nice sweet spot between realism and arcadeness. So the goal is to create something which is more casual and easy to get into than, let's say, DCS World, while still providing quite a lot of depth and immersion. This, what you see currently, is a very early version, and most things are quite primitive at the moment, such as the terrain, physics, cockpit, 3D model integration, etc. And there aren't a lot of types of aircraft, buildings, and so on. I will also have to consider whether I will go deeper into simulating this plane, the Eurofighter, or if I'll go for another plane from the same kind of era, depending on licensing concerns and other factors. However, there are missions now, such as this one, that are fully playable with objectives, and the player can either complete the mission successfully or fail to complete it. So now we are currently on a SEED strike mission, where SEED stands for Suppression of Enemy Air Defenses. So I will show a few of the features that are available as we go along. As for some technical details, this is built in Rust with Bevy, and in this particular version we just moved over to the new built-in atmospheric scattering, which constitutes most of what you see as the sky and the sun as well at the moment. I also very recently added rendering of the rear view mirrors. So here we are heading out towards our first waypoint, and in this mission we will first meet and possibly have to engage with any airborne threats that we encounter on the way to our target. And we are carrying Sidewinder short-range missiles that are actually radar guided in this particular case, since the game has no distinction between radar and IR sensors at the moment. What we do have, though, is a data link between planes in the same flight group, so me and my wingman can share sensor data if one of us detects different threats than the other one, or if one has their radar off. And these features will be extended further in the future, so we'll have radar aircraft and maybe ground radar and so on. Later in this mission we will use anti-radiation missiles that can detect and home in on enemy SAM sites, so that's surface-to-air missile sites. We can use those without having our radar enabled as well, since they are guided by the emitted radar from the SAM sites themselves. At this point we are closing in on our enemies. You can see some information in the right display of the cockpit, and in a few moments we will also see more information about whether our avionics estimate that they are able to track us or not, and at which distance, and so on. And you'll also see that those estimations vary depending on which radar cross-section we are exposing. So if we expose a lot of wing surface, for example, towards our targets, they're probably more likely to track us further away, and so on. For a second there we had a missile warning, but turns out these guys don't put up a lot of fight. My wingman has already fired at them. We have no implementation that the wingman waits for any kind of confirmation yet, so he just went ahead, and we'll have just a short air combat here. So at this point we can turn to our actual targets for the mission, and I will disable my own radar to declutter this situation and rely on the weapons. themselves. So as soon as we fired here, we need to try to evade these missiles that the SAM site sent our way. Unfortunately though, my wingman was shot down in that moment, so at this point we just want to get out of there as fast as possible and go home. As for what to do next in the development, I think we're both going to do some sensor improvements, make sure that the sensors cannot see through terrain and mountains, for example. And also, I think I'll have to make some improvements to the audio handling and not use the built-in default Bevy mechanisms, and hopefully get a bit less distortion and better handling of multiple audio sources. So, but yeah, there's really no shortage of things to do, obviously. At some point I will also have to improve the physics with more proper torque-based calculations. So it's very primitive at this point, but it kind of works. Here, just showcasing the time compression feature and then the autopilot. But I'll make a small cut here and we'll get closer to the landing. And we came in here with quite a lot of energy, so we'll have to use the air brake to try to slow down. And once we come to a stop, we will get to the mission debriefing and see some statistics of what happened and whether we completed our objectives, which we did in this case. So, thanks a lot for watching and see you later.